Hello students, let's have our online social studies class and we are continuing our revision chapters. So today we will revise the chapter 16, Art's Treasure, Natural Resources. I hope you all read the chapter thoroughly as I discussed before in my class, and I gave you all the question answers, the objective type question answers and the question answers too. I hope you all memorize the questions and answers, and you know that our coming examination will be of MCQ type. So read the objective type questions very carefully, which I given you already. Now today we will revise the chapter 16, Art's Treasure, Natural Resources. So what is natural resources? Natural resources are valuable substances given to man by nature. They get formed themselves, but man has to extract and purify them before they putting it to proper use. So examples of such resources are sunlight, water, wind, coal, petroleum, etc. Now, some natural resources are needed to stay alive. To stay alive, we need some natural resources, and some resources we use to make our lives better. Therefore, if one natural resource is taken away or overused, it affects the quality or supply of the other. Actually, natural resources all are connected. For example, if water is overused or just eliminated from an area, the vegetation, soil, animals, even the air in that area will be affected negatively. All natural resources fall under two main categories: renewable and non-renewable resources. So what are renewable resources? Actually, renewable resources are the resources which do not run out when we use them. They are constantly available in nature, like water, wind, or they can be reasonably replaced or recovered like vegetative lands. If renewable resources come from living things like trees and animals, they can be called as organic renewable resources. When renewable resources come from non-living things like water, sun and wind, they can be called as inorganic resources. Clear? So, renewable resources are two types, organic and inorganic. Now, non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are just opposite of renewable resources. This type of resources cannot easily be replaced once they are destroyed, or once they are finished actually. And the example of such resources are fossil fuels. Minerals are also non-renewable resources. If this type of resources finished once, it takes thousands of years to be formed again. For that, non-renewable resources are present in a fixed amount in nature. Extraction and use of non-renewable resources is often very polluting to the environment. So, what is the difference between renewable and non-renewable resources? Number one, it can be used again and again throughout its life. That is renewable resources. On the contrary, non-renewable resources cannot be used again and again. Point number two, renewable resources are present in unlimited quantity. On the contrary, non-renewable resources is present in limited quantity. Point 3. Renewable resources are non-exhaustive and non-renewable resources are exhaustive. Point 4. Renewable resources are pollution free and non-renewable resources are not pollution free. Point 5. The renewable resources are cheaper as they come from nature and we can use them directly. But non-renewable resources are costlier because we have to extract them from the earth's crust like the fossil fuel minerals, and so that it became costlier. And number 6, solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, etc. are example of renewable resources, and coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. are example of non-renewable resources. So, what are the non-renewable resources? Firstly, sun, solar energy. We get solar energy from sun. It is the energy. Sun is the source of renewable energy actually. Solar energy is the energy derived from the sun through solar radiation. Photovoltaic panels are used to capture sunlight, which is converted to electrical energy and stored in batteries. This form of energy is low cost and can be easily used in homes and offices. Next is wind energy. Wind energy also a very important renewable source of energy. And this type of energy does not produce pollution. And large windmills are used to generate wind energy, which is later converted into electrical energy and used for various purposes. Wind farms are built in flat open areas where the wind blows at least 14 miles per hour. Remember, where the wind blows at least 14 miles per hour. A windmill on a farm can make only a small amount of electricity. So, to make enough electricity to serve a lot of people, power companies build wind farms with dozens of wind turbines. Now is water. Water is one of the most important natural resource that supports life. Without water, we can't live, And rivers, ponds, lakes, seas and oceans are the sources of water. And 70% of our planet is covered with water. So, it is generally believed that water is abundantly available. A very small percentage of it is fresh water. The available water on Earth's crust. In this, a very small percentage is fresh water, which is usable water. That means water is considered renewable as it completes a natural cycle. Water leaves the earth through evaporation, but it also re-enters into the earth through rain. Now is soil. Soil is one of the most important renewable resources. It is the medium of a plant growth and supports different types of living organisms on earth. Without soil, plants cannot be grown, and without plant, we cannot get our food. As plants always provide food to all the living organisms. Most of the living organisms feed on the plant. Soil is a living system actually. It takes millions of years to form a few centimeters of soil. Various forces of nature like climate, temperature, running water, wind, decomposers, etc. contribute in the composition of soil. Now plants and trees. Humans and animals depend upon plants and trees for oxygen. As we breathe in, our body uses oxygen, and as we breathe out, it gives off carbon dioxide. Trees do just the opposite. They take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Plants and trees are natural resources that can be renewed by planting more of them. Besides oxygen, plants also provide us with food grains, fruits, vegetables, timber, etc. Now the animals. Animals are also considered as renewable resources because they reproduce to produce offspring who are equally useful like them. Domestic animals, how useful to us? They give us various products like milk, meat, wool, egg, etc. And they are also used to carry load from one place to another. Now about the non-renewable resources of energy. Firstly, coal and petroleum. Coal and petroleum are called as fossil fuels, and they are produced by constant high pressure of Earth's crust and upper soil. This pressure acts upon the fossils and residues of animals and plants over millions of years, producing petroleum and coal deposits. Thus, once mined or oil is drilled, they cannot be used again, as the waiting period for the formation of coal and petroleum is too long compared to human life. And petroleum is very useful to the to our society actually, and petroleum is called as liquid gold. Okay. Now about minerals. Minerals are obtained from rocks, and rocks from which minerals are extracted called as ores. After the extraction, ores are refined and converted into pure metals. And which is the most useful metal? Yes, iron. It is iron. And other important metals are manganese, mica, copper, gold, silver, etc. So, how we can conserve our natural resources now? As natural resources are available in abundance, but we should realize that they shall not be available infinitely. Therefore, it is important to conserve or protect the natural resources so that they will be around in the future too. So, what are the steps? To conservation of energy, we have to switch off light, fans and other electrical appliances when not in use. We should use solar heater for cooking food on sunny days, for cutting down the use of LPG, and growing trees near the house and getting a cooler breeze and shade for so that we can cut down our electricity charges on air conditioners and coolers. And we should conserve water too, using minimum amount of water for all domestic purposes. Plant more trees to maintain the water cycle, and always check for leaks in pipes and toilets and repairing them promptly. Rainwater harvesting system is very useful for the houses and buildings to increase the level of groundwater. Now about conservation of soil. Growing different types of plants, herbs, trees and grass in open areas can bind the soil and prevent soil erosion. And farmers using less pesticides and fertilizers while growing crops, because pesticides and fertilizers can cause soil erosion. And we should use always the natural manures for the crop. And mixed cropping technique is very useful. For that, soil nutrients are not depleted. Now, conservation of forests and wildlife. This is very important to conserve the natural resources, conservation of forests and wildlife. Planting more trees and keeping the surrounding green, controlling the overgrazing of forests area by domestic animals, and minimizing the use of paper, fuel and wood. Avoiding the construction of dams, roads and industrial construction in forest areas, and conserving wildlife by prohibiting the killing of wild animals like tiger, lion, leopard, elephants, etc. So this was the chapter. Read the chapter thoroughly and each and every line of the chapter, because from any portion you can get the questions. Okay. So this much for today. You all prepare for the coming exam and stay safe. Till my next class, goodbye to all of you.